Hi, my name's Jane Owen, and today I'm going to read you a short extract from my latest novel, Bitches of Suburbia. Gertrude Mackenzie is the oldest resident of Horseshoe Lane, the street that is central to the book, and she's very old, but she still rides a bicycle, and this is her coming up the hill. Gertrude Mackenzie cycled slowly, very slowly, up the hill, dressed in black and deep in thought. Today she had attended a funeral, and a particularly sad one at that. Not because she was particularly close to the deceased, she wasn't. Nor was it because the deceased had died particularly young or in tragic circumstances. She hadn't. Neither had it been sad because the sky was so blue, the sun so warm, the day such a good to be alive kind of day. No, the funeral of the late Phyllis Samuels had been sad because of the paucity of mourners. That was the trouble with living a long, long time. You outlived all the people who knew you, and your funeral was poorly attended, and it was hard to hold a proper wake, to send the departed off with a final fanfare, if there were only 4 people graveside and one of them was the vicar. Gertrude could see the day, somewhere in the not-too-distant future, possibly even tomorrow, when her 6 months would begin. She'd seen it so many times now, she understood. It takes 6 months to die of old age. How many times had she heard of an old friend taken to their bed with some vague, indefinable illness that the doctors could neither diagnose or treat, only to hear 6 months later that they'd died? If you visited them in that 6 months, you could see it for yourself, the body almost eating itself, the eyes focused on something on some far horizon that nobody else could see, as they tidied up around themselves, tied up all the loose ends of a long life, and they would invariably give you something personal, something to remind you of them. Everybody wanted to be remembered, but that was another problem with living to a ripe old age. The realisation that memories faded over generations, and even if you did distribute your cut glass vases and your Meissen figurines amongst your nearest and dearest, it was only a matter of time, a few generations at most, before you were forgotten and they were chipped or broken or were lingering in a charity shop somewhere. Despite the fact that Gertrude Mackenzie had not managed to visit her friend in the 6 months preceding her death, Phyllis had not forgotten her. And after the coffin had slid through the curtains to the inferno, as they all stood around the 3 floral tributes laid outside on the concrete, an ancient little walnut of a man, Phyllis' neighbour and beau, if he was to be believed, had presented Gertrude with a farewell gift from her old friend. Hence, the stuffed squirrel, wearing a tiny tuxedo and sporting a monocle and a top hat at a jaunty angle, currently sitting in the basket on her bicycle handlebars. Bizarre as the squirrel was, it was nothing compared with what was walking down the hill towards her. Gertie's bike wobbled dangerously as her eyes tried to assimilate the sight of Hilary Jones on her way to the postbox. Hilary Jones had had a makeover, of that there was no doubt. The question in Gertie's mind was why? For the love of God, why? The woman looked like a walking satsuma, so bright was her spray-on tan. The best you could say was that at least it was even. At least she was a uniform shade of lurid orange all over. Gertie could see that it was an all-over tan because Hilary Jones had abandoned all sense of decency and was wearing cut-off shorts and a bra top. Gertie found it strange enough that the young women of today wanted to go out and about dressed as strippers. But a woman of Hilary's age and shape, surely not. And what was with the long blonde hair extensions? "Hello," said Hilary as they met. Her beady little eyes immediately spotted the squirrel. "What's that?" she said. "It's a dead squirrel," replied Gertie. "It's a present from a dead friend." "That's nice," said Hilary. "Not really," said Gertie, still struggling to believe what her eyes were telling her. "I've got to get a present," said Hilary. "Have you now?" said Gertie, "and why would that be?" "For Kelly. It's her birthday, you know."